Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome people to the Rational League, to Footy JUDGEMO. Big up everybody that is here. Hit that like button if you're here. Subscribe to the channel for new. We're here to discuss some transfer news. We're not going to do concept talks. We're going to discuss Colwill to Liverpool. Is it the right move? Should Konate leave Liverpool to PSG? And Arsenal, another youth prospect. Of course, we discussed this yesterday in Sesko. And Zinchenko is linked to Bayern Munich. Vincent Company wants to assemble his friends again with him at Bayern Munich. And the latest thing that I read, that I read this morning is that Chelsea aren't linked to Osimhen. They're not pursuing Osimhen anymore. They are looking for another striker. There was links to Lautaro Martinez, who just decided to renew with Inter. And I don't know who else. Go ahead. Someone said anything? Why did I hear?
I heard something. I don't know what it was. I don't think anyone said anything though.
Me too. I heard something, and I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
It's kind of strange. But listen, people, hit that like button if you are here. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And if you're watching this on the replay, hit that like button before you go on. Nobbins couldn't make it today. He's going on a holiday. So that's why we'll see him next time.
What a fraud.
You're going to get some actual peaceful discussion without him trying to run his sly little agendas. This is what Nobbins does.
Catch him strays because he's not here.
I can say 115 as many times as I want.
He's not here to do anything. It's so nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can say what I want, and I don't worry about. Well, it's not been through the legal court yet. Oh, he's 115 for fuck's sake.
Bless him. Bless him.
Yeah. So what do we start? How's everybody doing first?
Yeah.
All good. Looking forward to tomorrow. Really big day tomorrow. You know, Champions League final, second to Arnie Slot's official first day at Liverpool. You know, that's the biggest football thing tomorrow. Gonna have a press conference. We're all gonna be very excited, and then we watch a little game of football afterwards.
Yeah. Euros and stuff like this. You know what I mean? So I'm still waiting for the Euros. I know why I'm not excited for this Euro, though. I'm not excited at all. Why this Euro? I'm not excited. I don't know. Normally I am, but I feel like it's going to be dull.
It'll probably once you get into it. I remember the last one was different because it was coming out of lockdown. So it was like the first big sort of thing out of lockdown. So that got everyone going. With this one, I think it will just be, once it starts up, you'll probably get into it. Because I think there's actually some really decent matchups in the groups.
Yeah. Where do we start, though? We start with Liverpool for once. You know, we haven't spoken about Liverpool in this show at all. So we'll start with Liverpool then. Tom, I saw you were in Inter jersey yesterday. How, there's Levi Colwill linked to Liverpool.
Big ups Diego Melito, by the way. Big ups Diego Melito, my guy.
One of the best.
That Bayern performance will live long in my mind.
Something
anyway,
Diego can do. 150%.
We had a really fun day in the group chat yesterday, putting all the gifts in of our teams winning the Champions League.
And Rory's like, it's okay.
Our time will come. Our time will come. Don't you worry.
100%. Listen, Colwill to Liverpool. Would you like that, actually? A Colwill. You were linked to him last season.
I like Colwill. I think he's a very good defender. I wanted him last summer before he signed the new deal. I think he got massively fucked over. I think he was one of Poch's mistakes in terms of just where he played him. He's not a left back. But my question mark is, where does he necessarily fit in if he's not going to be able to do the left centre back type role that I think we're going to transition into? Because as good as I think Colwill is, there's no centre back in the world that displaces Virgil van Dijk from this team. So that's left centre back boxed off anyway, which is Colwill's best spot. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he can do right centre back as well. And then I think he does sort of struggle with mobility and pure pace up when he's at the left centre back spot, which is why I think we might move to a different option from him, just someone who's a little bit more mobile and you could see doing a job as a left back. Plus, I think Chelsea actually really want to keep him. I think there's other academy graduates that they'd sooner push out the door than Colwill to try and make up any PSR concerns. So I like him. I think he's a good centre-back. I feel he should have been part of the provisional Euros squad. I don't know if he's injured or not, but I know he wasn't included. So I feel like he was someone who was unlucky to miss out. But yeah, probably not for us now. I think the boat has sort of sailed regarding Colwill to Liverpool. Unless
why do you need someone like this, like Colwill? To be honest, I'm looking at like the Colwill, so and I'm like, why do you need that? Why don't you go for a right centre back? Is that a replacement for Van Dijk at the current moment?
We've got two very good right centre backs in Konate and Konate, so I don't need a right centre back necessarily. The left centre back spot, I'm either dragging someone from right centre back over there, and neither of them are as good on the left centre back. Plus, I think we kind of need a left centre back who can also do a job at left back and who is left footed. The closest we've had to that is Joe Gomez.
Yeah.
And as much as I think he's had a good year, there's reports that he could go this summer. I'd let go of Joe Gomez this summer if the offer was good from Saudi. So like we just need. I think we need two, but at least one left-footed centre back, and the other one can be like a hybrid of a centre back, left back type thing, just so we can fix the balance problem that I think we've had in build-up a lot this season, where we end up at times with a 2-2-6, and then the moment you lose the ball, you're just swarmed because you're in 4-on-4s, 5-on-4s. If we go back to a 3-2 or a 2-3, whatever way you want to run it, we've got a little bit more balance then. So like a Hincapié or a William Pacho, the players like that are probably going to be more
Don't you think
of the ilk of what we're looking for.
Don't you think like Colwill, if he goes and asks Dan this, he can be the left back for them when Trent inverts? Like he plays three in the back, like what Man City do.
Yeah, Colwill probably fits a similar mold to what Joe Gomez has done for Liverpool in recent years. The issue I'd have, though, is how good he'd be at left back. I don't think he'd be as good as what Joe Gomez has been. I think Poch probably highlighted that when he played him there, that he seemed way off it. I don't think that was his strongest position at all for us. He got a few games at centre-back and he looked a lot better. But I'll be honest, if we got a decent amount of money for him, I really wouldn't be that bothered.
But I thought that a lot of Chelsea fans then were like raving about him as being the next big thing.
I think the issue with Chelsea fans is they have such an attachment to players coming through the academy dependent on quality, because I think they're all craving John Terry again, and it's not really happened. And they had such an attachment to him. They look for that in every player that comes through. People got behind Josh McEachran when it was him. People get behind Levi Colwill when it's him. Do you know? They don't always go on to have the most stellar of career. I think Levi's on for a good one, but I think what I saw from him, ultimately, I didn't feel like it was good enough. And I feel like even at Brighton, there was a lot of hype for a limited amount of games. I think he's a good player, but I don't really think that he's exceptional. And if we were to get a decent amount of money for him, I'd probably be okay with that. The issue is, though, is obviously how many centre-backs can Chelsea let go of in one transfer window? A player who is there is better than not having one at all.
So you're happy to keep Badiashile?
I wouldn't say I'm happy, but I don't think he'll demand the fee, and he wouldn't be clear profit that Levi Colwill would be. So I think in terms of where Chelsea stand financially, it would probably make more sense to part ways with Levi this summer than Badiashile.
This is very strange, to be honest.
This
is the first
Tom,
time I heard that.
When do you think you sign Van Dijk's long-term replacement?
Levi Colwill.
Could it be that? Could Colwill be Van Dijk's long-term replacement? And if he was, would you want to sign him before Van Dijk leaves?
I think the question with that, though, is how long is Van Dijk going to continue to give you? So if we sign Colwill now and say, look, pipeline is 2 years down the line, Van Dijk will be moved on and then you come in. But then 2 years down the line, Van Dijk still performing at the very top level, still the best centre-back in the world, still, in conversations for Player of the Year. All of a sudden, that pipeline's gone, and then the promises that were made to Colwill then fall flat, and then he's sitting there going, well, I'm no longer 22, I'm now 24, 25, I need to be playing regular first-team football now, and when is it going to come here? I think that's the question. I wouldn't be shocked if we got him and then we tried him out at left-back for a year, and hope that having Van Dijk there and Konate or Quansah just gives him that insurance to allow for a couple of mistakes, sort of thing. Because I think he's very good on the ball, but I could see us just moving for a more athletic type of centre back. Plus, I do think it depends a little bit on the price of Colwill. Like, if Chelsea are going to be asking for 70, 80, I could see us looking at other options on the market because we do have a lot of positions that need to be filled this window. A lot more than people think need to be filled this window.
So centre back.
70 or 80 would be crazy.
At least one centre back. I would like two, and then one who can play as a left back, because that will then fix the left back problem. The problem positions are centre back, left back, DM, left wing, and I'd like to say striker.
All
but
of
I know
this.
Nunes isn't going to go.
Why do people always all of this? Your problem is left back, but you have Tsimikas and Robertson. You need to sell one.
Do not tell me that you've explained there, Tsimikas. That the name Tsimikas is the problem.
No, but the name
Robertson's
Tsimikas is a second choice. He's not the first choice.
Yes, but Robertson's getting older, and last year was probably the worst season of his Liverpool career. Tsimikas is just genuinely crap, and 28. He's not this young kid who can develop. He's 28.
Andy Robertson is 30 years old.
Yes.
That's not old.
We have
Yeah, but
ran Andy Robertson into the ground.
Yeah. He heavily
He's-
relies on being an absolute dog, and you can't do that into your mid-30s.
We have
No, but he's
ran
not
that man
mid-30.
into the ground.
Rory, he's 30 years old. If we're gonna assume that every 30 years old their career is done, that means you basically, when you get 25 years old to 26 years old, you get 5 years of that player and just you're done.
And Andy Robertson has played 300 games for Liverpool since pretty much January of 2018.
Okay, that's not a lot. 300 games. That's not a lot.
For the way
In
that
our
he
s-
plays,
In our system and the amount of running and shit he has to do,
It's in 6
a lot.
years, 300 games. That's okay.
6 years, that is what?
it's 50 games a year.
50 games a year where he's
a lot
regularly
of-
covering
In his prime,
the
though.
most distance.
Okay.
Mo, I'm
He
speaking
looked
from
he looked a
experience
bit
here.
shot last
My
season.
point about this is that you, unless you get rid of Robertson, you aren't signing a left back. Does that make sense?
No, because
You're not going to have
Sam
3
on this.
left backs
No,
on your.
you sell Tsimikas, boot Tsimikas out the football
okay.
club, get him gone, and then you can have
You'll get
Robertson
8
be the
million for
attacking one.
Tsimikas max.
I'll pay someone to take Tsimikas off my hands. He's
okay.
useless.
Okay.
He's a backup who needs 10 games to get going. What sort of backup's that? So he goes. Robertson becomes the rotation piece with the obviously the chance to regain that starting spot. And you go buy a more defensive one. Now you've got Robertson who can be an attacking one and the more defensive one. Therefore, you got balance. Then you need a DM to go alongside McAllister, whoever that is. But whether we go for like Porto's Varela or we go for Ederson from Atalanta or whoever we're being linked with.
So you're going to get
You know,
Ederson. This guy is good. He's going to play
Like,
next.
him and McAllister, good balance there, good on the ball, good defensive work, midfield problem solved, and then you've got good rotation pieces. And then there was news yesterday that Diaz is wanted by Saudi.
Yeah.
I will fly that man over to Saudi Arabia myself. He's the most frustrating player, the most annoying player, the most overrated player at my football club. Get him gone. I don't care who you buy to replace him. We've been linked with about 8 different wingers today, and I'd have all of them. Brian Mbuemo from Brentford. Give me him over.
Yeah,
Diaz.
that link I like. Mbuemo I like.
Give me him over Diaz. Go pay the money for Kudus. Go get me Somerville from Leeds. Go get me
Mbuemo
anyone
look like
who
he's
isn't
35 years old. He's only 23, I think, something like this.
Yeah, like anyone can offer me more than Luis Diaz. He's a 28-year-old with shit end product. He's the same player that we bought 3 years ago. There's been zero development. Zero. And he's now 28.
He got injured, to be honest.
And I know, and it was unlucky. That doesn't change what's happened. That happened. And now we're left with the same player, but at 28 with no room to grow.
Okay.
He's never going to become this clinical winger. I can't have a front three, especially when Salah goes, because Salah's going to go sooner rather than later. When Salah goes, I cannot justify having a front three of Diaz, Nunes, and fucking, I'm going to use Kudus, for example.
And Gakpo. I think that would be
Which one of
amazing.
them is getting me 25 league goals a season? Gakpo can't play on the right though. That's the problem. I like Gakpo, and Gakpo is the best out of them three. If you were to put a gun to my head and say who would you want to keep out of them three, Gakpo every day of the week. Actual technical ability in a footballer.
Is this because you're still insisting on having Salah through the middle?
I would like him through the middle, but I can have him on the right if needs be. Wherever he fits in best.
I don't think he's going to be able.
He has to stay.
Salah in the middle at all.
We're going to do this again. Salah.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing this. We're not.
Salah can play through the middle. That's all that needs to be said.
Are you? Go ahead.
I'm like, it's just we have so many problem positions to fill this summer that I can't justify not letting go of Diaz for the money that I can get for him as well. Like 75 mil for Diaz. 75.
Are they offering
Diaz.
75 million?
Yes, that's the price that's being chucked around. 75 million for Diaz.
Yeah, you'd be crazy not to take that.
Exactly. For a winger who has got 11 assists in his Liverpool career.
How long's he got left on his contract?
2027, I think.
So the only danger would be that if he just desperately doesn't want to leave, but
he can go. His dad's been trying to shop him to Spain for about 6 months. I want him gone. I have no qualms with him going. He is top of my sell list for the attackers, even ahead of Nunes. Genuinely, at least Nunes has a level of output. He's frustrating, but there's a level of output. Diaz doesn't even have that level of output.
Of all of those positions you think you need to fix, which ones do you think, realistically, you could just patch up with players that you've already got? So, CDM, can Bjakatic, or however you pronounce it, can he just do that if he's fit?
I think we can't cut on DM again. We cut on DM with Endo and we got away with it. We can't cut on DM again. Bajcetic is very good. Bajcetic isn't physically ready though. He's still built like a twig. That's the problem. He needs to buff up a little bit. Realistically, I could see us just scamming left back again and just sticking with Tsimikas and Robertson, and me losing my mind as we stick with Tsimikas and Robertson. I could also see us selling Gomez and then just using Sepp van den Berg next year, in back on loan from Mainz, and just having him as the option. We're definitely going to buy a forward. We're definitely going to buy. I don't want to even imagine a world where we don't buy a forward, by the way.
You have McAllister. You have McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Curtis Jones, right? And you have Harvey Elliott. You have Bajcetic, right? These are the 6 midfielders you have, right? Am I missing somewhere else? Endo as well. He still has 1 year. So you got 7 midfielders, right?
Yep.
And none of them can play DM. Do you think you have to get rid of a couple at least? Otherwise, you're going to end up with 8 midfielders for 3 positions.
You'd say yes, but then you end up playing a lot of games. I think the minimum games you're going to play next year, or Liverpool play next year, if we crashed out of every competition at the earliest possible opportunity, would be 48.
Yeah.
Now Liverpool aren't going to crash out of every possible competition at the earliest opportunity. So you're going to get at least 50, probably close to 55 games.
Yeah. A
lot of these players in the midfield are prone to an injury, so you do need more options in that case. Plus, it's a new season under a new manager. I'll be honest, I don't expect Harvey Elliott to be in midfield much next year. If we play a 4-2-3-1, he'll be out on the right. So you can wipe that one off, and then it's just about putting pieces together. And like I said, you can't scam on the DM again. It's clear that Endo isn't the long-term solution. The man's 31. He isn't the guy for the next 3-4 years to partner McAllister. Bajcetic probably. Part of me says he could do it alone. Part of me says he needs to stay at the club and develop alongside these players. I don't mind which way he's done, but we need a DM. We need a DM.
Okay, so Konate, though, is that the link to PSG. I know you are trying to renew the contract, but the link to PSG, it's 45 million for him. A lot of before we were talking about.
We paid like 35 for him.
So, and he hasn't improved. Konate just came in.
Yes, he has.
It's the same player.
Konate's been very.
It's like Upamecano at Bayern Munich, same player that came in, same player today.
No.
It's not like Gabriel or Saliba or Ben White or something.
No. See, I'm
Does anybody here
all
think that
criticising Konate's flaws.
Konate improved at all? You guys, anybody here?
Yes,
think-
I
Konate's
think
improved.
I don't think he did. Do you know what? Right, the only improvement he's had. No, the only improvement Konate's
I'm
had,
not
I
bantering
think,
at all, by the
is
way.
the only improvement I think he's had is playing alongside Virgil van Dijk. I think that the image of him has improved because when he's alongside Van Dijk. But actually, if you isolate him, I don't think he's improved. Maybe he's
Konate
improved
was
on the
always
ball.
the physical. Konate was listen, was always the physical, quick, reactive defender since you got him, since day one. The problem is when you ask him to start making decision on his own and leading the line without a Van Dijk telling him where to go and how to stand. This is why Liverpool fans, he gets you like a couple and I've said that all the time, by the way. Since the start of last year with HUSAM, I told him, listen, the difference between a William Saliba and a Konate is that a William Saliba is a proactive defender who reads the game before it happens. That's why you won't see him make that many tackles. You won't see him make that many stuff because he reads the game. He prevents the pass before it happens. While Konate, sometimes people think he looks better because you will see him battling a one-on-one forward, dispossessing a forward, like because he's reactive. And that is something you need in a defender. You know what I mean? Cannavaro was like this, very, very aggressive. Thing about Konate is that you guys, Liverpool fans, and I'm not going to judge Liverpool fans based on what they say. You guys are, Konate is the next big thing, and then he makes mistakes. And then Konate is the next big thing, and he makes mistakes. The problem without Van Dijk, he is very reactive. That's it. So I don't think he improved at all.
He's definitely improved.
In what aspect is he? Did you see Gabriel? Gabriel was always a rash defender, makes decision. Now Gabriel,
stop. Right. You're basing improvements on comparison to other players. I'm not doing that. I'm looking at what he was when he joined to what he is now. Konate is a better defender and a better footballer than what he was when he joined. Does he still have problems in his game? 100% he does. But he's a better defender.
What
now
areas have
than he was
improved,
then.
Tom? Just out of interest, I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way. I just from your perspective, watching him
okay,
more than me.
Even though he's still not great on it, he can now pass a ball. He can now pass. That was a big problem. He's also hold on.
Professional football player that can pass a ball now at the age of 25. What an improvement! Yes,
he's also better 1v1 in terms of not diving in as much, and he's better in the air, although he got battered by Calvert-Lewin. On the whole, he's been better in the air because he was horrendous in the air when he joined. For someone who was 6'4", he would lose every aerial battle. Now he wins most of them. So there has been an improvement in Konate, and you can see it in his international rep. I mean, I would expect him to start for France this summer in the Euros. Didier Deschamps really likes him and what he is as a centre-back.
I don't think he's going to start. I don't think it's going to be Saliba. I think.
Would they not start alongside each other? No.
That's a
the French national team's wild though. The last time they had internationals, neither Konate or Saliba started, and they went with fucking Upamecano and bloody. They had Todibo.
You know, Upamecano is going to start. Whatever, no matter what happens, Upamecano has this starting place booked for him. Somehow.
I think people do give a bit of a disservice to Konate. Konate is one of the only defenders I've seen have consistently good games against Vinicius. Genuinely, like Vinicius is the only player, or Konate is the only player I've seen Vinicius really struggle against.
Reece James.
Walker's dealt with Vinicius before. In fairness, though,
Konate won every single duel he had against Vinicius across two games.
That's good, but that can just be a nice stylistic matchup that it just happens that Vinicius is that because the opposite example is Kai Havertz had Konate on toast and got him sent off at the Emirates, and he couldn't handle Kai Havertz at all, which is a different style.
I'm sorry, that's Kai Havertz.
I mean, he
one of the
was
slowest
fine
players,
he was relatively fine against Kai Havertz in the FA Cup when he was, partnering Kwanzaa.
Okay, so forget all of this. Would you like Konate to be your long-term centre-back at Liverpool Football Club winning titles?
Yes.
All right,
Konate can be that.
I think with his injuries, bro,
Yeah. Obviously, the injuries are a problem. If he can't get over that, then we run into a different issue. But
Okay.
as a out-and-out defender, yes, I think Konate can be a centre-back in a title-winning team. 100%.
Do you think your injuries improved, by the way, with the new manager? Like, obviously, Klopp's intensity is outrageous. So, are you expecting to see an upturn in terms of injured players, or?
God knows, it's in someone else's hands. Honestly, I have no idea. All I know is that we've got the physio from Arsenal when they had all their injury problems. Chris Morgan, oh my God, he was our physio when we kept having injury problems. Got Daniel Sturridge injured about 4 separate times. Then went to Arsenal, and Rory can probably talk better on this than me. Didn't Arsenal have like a massive injury crisis from like 2017 to like 2020?
Yeah, but Man United are actually sniffing around their physio.
No, but this is the guy who replaced our one now.
Yeah.
So their new physio, who's now going United, replaced Chris Morgan. And in that time frame, Arsenal kept getting fucking injuries. He came back to us, and all of a sudden, we keep getting injuries. I would actually, if we're not going to buy a striker, don't buy a striker. Go spend the striker money on a medical department that can keep Diogo Jota fit, and you don't need a striker. Go spend that money on a medical department that keeps players fit, and then we're fine. We're fine. That's the issue. That's the issue. I hope he reduces the injuries, because then I get to see. I don't have to see a situation where we're bringing on 5 children in a cup final again.
Who's better, Kwanzaa or Konate for that right centre back? You think next year or the year after?
Konate, surely.
Konate. Kwanzaa is very good, but Konate is Konate, I think, is a better partner for Van Dijk, because he's the opposite of what Van Dijk is, and you need that dynamic in a pair of centre backs. Kwanzaa has a lot of play style similarities to Van Dijk, so at times they end up both backing off when you'd like one of them to get forward and press the issue.
Maybe listen. If Konate comes an offer for 45 million and you sell, you'll have to sign another centre back. And there is
there's no chance we sell Konate for 45. If we sell Konate for 45 million, that'll be one of the worst pieces of business we've done. Genuinely.
How much do you think you can get for him then?
60 at his age,
if not more.
60 million pounds.
Oh, I don't know about more, really.
Ooh.
Do you know why? Do you know why you can't? In my opinion, because the centre back market is like, there's a lot of good centre backs on the market. Like, it's not like everyone's desperate for a centre back and there aren't many of them knocking around. There's a lot of good centre backs around Europe at the moment.
Yeah, but I would put Konate in conversations with these types of centre backs. Like, so who are we saying is like a centre back that could go this summer? Who are we saying is a centre back that could move this summer?
Well, as one example, Chelsea are looking at selling Chalobah for like 25 million, and they're not even sure they can get that.
Konate is much better than Chalobah. I like Chalobah as well, but Konate is much better than
Nobody's arguing that.
But what I'm saying is, if Chalobah's at 25 million max, that I think is an indicator of where the centre back.
Konate double that price.
I don't think he's worth double that.
100% he is. Konate's rep is very good in terms of the performance. So I'm looking at expensive centre backs here. So like Ronald Araujo for Barcelona, apparently he could go this summer. I'd say Konate can fetch a similar price to Ronald Araujo.
All right.
And that's going to be like 70, 80 million.
You think you can get
there? I'm just going by Araujo and Konate.
You know that like 70, 80 million.
Araujo and Konate are the same age, and Konate has a better rep. Konate was our best player in the Champions League final.
Yeah,
this notion of a player was our best player in like a 6, 7, 8 games, or in like people don't price players like this. Like people price players but over the season, you know.
So Konate had a good season this season up until the end. Konate had a really good season up until the final month.
I get it. Konate is good. He played 22 games this season. 22 games.
Is that it?
Yes, but that was, to be fair, this was the first year that injuries weren't the problem. It was just we rotated a lot. So at the start of the season, Klopp liked Matip's on the ball quality. It came down to the fact that
playing ahead of you, bro, at the age of 45.
No,
you gotta question yourself and look at yourself in the mirror, bro. Like
again, I will explain it, Mo. Matip and Kwanzaa are better on the ball. So against low-end opposition, where they are backing off you and you need your centre-back to be able to create, that is where you need a
And that's
massive
on modern football, Tom. And this is us being very rational, right? In modern football, like in the day like we see now, a lot of coaches and managers look at center backs and say, well, this guy might not be the tackler like the old days, but they are very good on the ball. I would like that defender. And instead of the guy that will battle it the whole game, especially for bigger teams that pay the top money.
An example jumps to mind for me straight away is Rudiger. He's probably been one of the better centre-backs in the world this year, and he's in a Champions League final for Real Madrid. He's not this unbelievably creative centre-back. I would say his side of the game is more similar to Konate's than Van Dijk.
I'm going to say something crazy about this, okay? For some reason, Real Madrid centre-backs are special cases.
Because they play a different style of football.
It doesn't matter how it plays at centre-backs. They perform. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it just happens for Real Madrid. And they still keep the ball, which is strange to me, Dan. I don't know how.
But then that's not a very rational discussion, is it? Can you explain why
Real Madrid by themselves are very strange.
Yeah, I'm not even suggesting that Rudiger's not good on the ball, by the way. I can see people jumping on that in the comments. I'm just suggesting that wouldn't be his strongest side of his game. Whereas, do you understand where I'm coming from on that? I feel like Van Dijk and players like Matip for Liverpool are more beneficial, like Tom says, when a team's backing off and sitting back and sitting in a low block. I can see why they're really beneficial. But then don't forget someone like Konate, and this is where you were saying they sort of benefit each other. As soon as that counter attack comes, someone like him is absolutely key to stopping those. I just think like 80 million.
It's no coincidence that our very best spell of the season, when everyone was fit, Konate was doing like 2 players' jobs. So Trent would bomb on and effectively just leave right back for large parts of the game. And Konate would have to cover 2-3 channels on his own. Van Dijk would cover 1, and then Robertson would cover 1. And then losing Fabinho, who was better on the ball than Endo, meant that ultimately we lost the ability to play out through the DM. So the playing outside came onto the centre-backs. And Konate can do it, but he isn't as good as Matip or Konsa when it comes to it. And then that sticks out against these low-end opposition. I'm not going to change what Konate is as a one-on-one defender, one of the best in the league, 100%. But there's not many top players who've got the best of him consistently.
The thing is, I think if you're talking about him being worth more than 45, then you're talking about like a premium value centre-back at that point. But not that many teams could even afford to spend that much money on a centre-back anyway. And the biggest concern for me, we can argue about how good he is, but he's played in 3 seasons at Liverpool, he's played 90 games. So he averages 30 games a season, and Liverpool average, 55, 60 games a season? So you're talking about someone, whether it's through injury or not being selected, you're talking about a player who is capable of playing, just over 50% of the games. I think if you're paying the premium for a player, I'm not sure that that's enough, personally. If I'm looking at if Arsenal were bringing a centre back in, for example, that would worry me.
I've just grabbed a list here. Of the most expensive defenders of all time that aren't like fucking ancient. Lisandro Martinez from Ajax United cost 51. I think Konate is better than that.
I agree. But...
Laporte cost 60. De Ligt cost 60. And De Ligt cost 77. Fofana cost 74. Lucas Hernandez cost 72. With that being like the top end of centre backs, I don't see why we couldn't try and negotiate.
I'm gonna tell you why, Tom, because there are people that forget something. When you go to a top team, you pay more than when you leave a top team, most likely, unless you're going to another top team. For example, if Konate is leaving Liverpool, going to Arsenal, for example, number one, unless he is needed at Liverpool, unless Arsenal are going for the star of Liverpool, they are paying less than what the value. But if a player going from the Bundesliga, from Stuttgart, you'll overpay. The player going from Ajax, you'll overpay. If the player is going from Fiorentina or Atalanta, you overpay. Players leaving top club, normally, you pay less. Unless it's a player that is needed. Like if PSG are in need for example, if PSG come tomorrow for McAllister, they will pay 150 million. Why? Because they're buying your superstar. Konate is not considered one of your superstars of the team. He isn't. They're just going to get him off your hand. They're going to pay 45, 50 million max. Right? That's the difference. They aren't buying
and then I don't accept because he's worth more than that. And then I keep a good centre back. If someone tries to gaslight me,
which is
50
fair,
million for Konate is how much he's worth, that's mental.
But why do you think PSG are sniffing around him? Though? If he's not for sale, why are they sniffing around him? He's French.
Clubs sniff around players that aren't necessarily available anyway. So like they want to go to like a full France model where they're buying all these French players and now they're trying to change the club culture. Not shocked Konate's there because he's one of the better French centre backs in the world that has proved they're not a bozo like Upamecano. So with that being the case, obviously they're going to be sniffing now. William Saliba's off the table because he is the best French centre back and Arsenal aren't going to let him go. So then you look at who's next. Upamecano is worse than Konate. Who else have they got?
Todibo.
Todibo. They could go.
You know, that's one of the problems. Upamecano is worse than Konate in our books. Somehow, coaches and managers they rate Upamecano higher. I don't know how, but than Konate for some reason. I know why.
I think everyone agrees though that Konate is a better centre back than Upamecano. Cost half the price and is better. So like you look.
I agree. I wouldn't take Upamecano on my club. I'll take Konate for sure, 100%.
So if we break down the French centre back market, who we put like Koundé maybe, but hasn't he been playing right back for Barcelona? So it's hard to really factor in how good he would be as a centre back necessarily. And then we're against like the Sassy and Badiashile. Like, is that what the French centre back market is? There's a very strong case that Konate.
That Lenny Euro from Lille.
Yeah, he's 18, isn't he? So there's the big question mark about, what's he going to be like on his next step? There's a very strong case to be made that bar William Saliba, Konate is the next best.
Maybe, probably.
Maybe. His competition is fucking Upamecano, who we've all just agreed Konate is better than.
To be honest with you, every time I see Konate plays, it's either he is having a fantastic, magnificent game, like an absolute monster, or he's just a donkey on the pitch, doesn't know where to stand, covers offsides, tackles wrong, and gets isolated. Like, I like Konate as my second defender. Does that make sense? Next to Van Dijk. I like that. A reactive defender that can cover spaces and all this stuff. But I feel like it's a bomb.
I think that's
ticking bomb sometimes. But
I think that's harsh on Konate. I think that when you see Konate have a good
like
game,
the freaking Arsenal game, for example, it's like, what was that performance from him?
Yeah, but then
even though the next game he would be absolutely amazing. You know what I mean? Like,
no, because everyone goes to that Arsenal game at the Emirates. Yes, it was a shit game. It was just.
You know that there are other games.
Konate's had two really bad games this season: Arsenal away and Everton away. That's the two really bad games he's had. But he's also had some very good games against some top sides this season. It's like everyone goes on about Arsenal away. Arsenal at home, Konate was fantastic. Arsenal in the FA Cup, Konate was fantastic. Like,
someone said that in the chat. Someone mentioned the FA Cup game, so I looked it up. We had 18 shots, 5 big chances. We were just shit. Like, we created like nearly 3 times the XG that you did. We were just couldn't finish.
The reason why I dislike that though is a lot of them chances. Can you find out how many of them shots were blocked or something? Because people just look at that. Because I see, like, if they're blocked or they've been forced to a tight angle and missed, that's good defending.
I mean, I remember the game. We created some mad.
Like, I can give you the Odegaard one where he hit the bar. I don't know why he hit the bar there. He should have just kept it low. There was a sack of volley at the back.
Is it only me or Tom is lagging?
No, he's lagging.
He's gone. He is gone.
That was Quantz's man, I think. the shot. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, you're good, mate. I think.
He's back. He's gone. He's back. He's gone.
I'm back. Right.
He's gone.
I was just saying, you had the Havertz, the Odegaard bomb when you hit the bar, and then the Saka volley.
Yeah, so 18 shots, 7 off target, 5 on target, 6 of them were blocked. Hit the woodwork once. 14 shots from inside the box, 4 from outside the box. 1.76 XG compared to Liverpool's 0.6 XG. 5 big chances missed.
That's fair. I think Konate had a very good game that day. I think big chances missed is a shit metric anyway, because I saw a video the other day of Nunez's big chances missed, and about 3 of them were headers from corners from like 14 yards out, and you're sitting there going, how's that a big chance? So like it swings around. I know Konate. I felt Konate had a good game that day, especially in the league game at Anfield. He had a very good game. There's been games last year. There's been games this year. So I think there's a lot of discredit on Konate.
Guys, there's over 500 people here. Can we get the likes up a little bit? We aren't even on 200 likes. Guys, really, we need to get to 300 likes live. Guys, now. Stop what you're doing. Hit that like button. It helps the video to get more exposure, to get more reach, guys. It helps the video. Mina here is saying, big up Mo, getting the 2-star kit. I regret the 5-star one. I'm getting the 2-star kit next season. Once the kit drops, I'm getting that, of course, for Inter. The problem is I hate it. Or maybe it'll be good. I hate it, bro. It's shit design. Lisandro, this is a very interesting one. Lisandro Martinez, if he can stay fit, he's better than Konate. Can read the game and can tackle.
Not as a centre-back. Martinez was born.
If he really controlled Haaland in that final and was able to get the ball out of the back, he's involved in the majority of the good plays. Listen, I doubted Lisandro Martinez. I said small. He's not going to be able to handle physicality. I thought he actually proved me wrong. The problem is this Achilles injury.
Didn't Haaland hit the bar and really should have scored?
I tell you what, Martinez was born to play the inverted left back role that we tried to sign him for before we got Zinchenko. Yeah. And
or a left-sided centre back in a back 3.
Yeah,
be fantastic.
A centre back in a back 4. I just think it's not even about the physicality. It is just genuinely about the height as an option. I just don't think it's good enough. Yeah. But he's a better footballer. He's a better footballer than Konate by
imagine him with Pep Guardiola when they have Stones inverting and he leaves 3 in the back in the system last season. The left-sided centre.
Where Nathan Ake played.
When Nathan Ake played.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I think because you don't need that much height. You need ability on the ball to be able to pass the ball around, and you need the physicality to be able to defend 1-on-1, unless it's against Salah, and then that's completely different. But
but his injuries have absolutely killed his
career. His career. Yeah. It's ridiculous how much
Martinez is a better footballer. I won't argue that Martinez is a better footballer than Konate, but Konate is the best defender.
I'd have Konate in my team every day of the week over Martinez, though.
Konate over Martinez.
Yeah, every day of the week. Because I'd rather win the football game than have Martinez in my team, who, don't get me wrong, I've seen him a few times. I thought he looked really, really good, but I wouldn't want him in my team. I feel like he's a liability with his injuries, and I feel like that's just not
the injuries, though. But both are injured then all the time.
Yeah, true. I feel like surely Konate has got a better track record than Martinez, though. No.
Yeah.
Konate, I don't think Konate's missed as much.
By the way, Martinez had 2 injuries only, guys. But the injury
really long term.
But it was actually, was it not basically the same injury? Anyway?
Achilles, right? It was the Achilles thing.
No, I think it was basically it's a weird part of the foot. He broke a weird part of the foot that's really difficult to heal.
Yeah.
Right. And then he came back too early and basically had to have another operation on it, I think.
I don't know. I didn't like Martinez in the beginning. Now I like him, to be honest, as a left-sided centre back. I like him.
Also, I like how early you said I can't use one game as a metric, and then used Lisandro Martinez keeping Haaland quiet in an FA Cup final as the metric.
No, but also he has had good games before last season when he was not injured. Very good games. But he had shit games as well. The Liverpool game, the 6-3.
So he did
the 6-3 where he let Haaland get a hat-trick on his head.
So he did his metatarsal.
I see your point. Yeah, I see your point. Yeah.
He did his metatarsal, then he basically redid it. So they were the 2 big ones. But then he got that knee injury, and then he got a calf strain. All this season.
All just done one after each other. So he didn't come back at all. Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah, I see. But anyway, moving on from this to Chelsea a little bit. I don't want to stay on Chelsea for a while because we stayed actually 25 minutes talking about Konate, which is not bad. 25 minutes talking about Konate. Chelsea. I don't know. We have spoken since Maresca got appointed for 5 years. We've said about the project, and I know that project and the links now. You aren't linked to Osimhen, and I'm not sure who you're linked to now as a striker, right? I'm not sure, Dan. How do you see the project and how do you see the players you're linked to? And someone told me a front line of Olise, Osimhen, Palmer, and Nkunku is lethal. And I'm like, yeah.
So it'd just be Palmer left fit then for the rest of the season, wouldn't it? Because like I just don't. I feel like they've all had injury issues. Even Osimhen's missed quite a few games at the beginning of the season. I'll be honest. I don't mind if we miss out on Osimhen. I feel like the amount of money it's going to cost for the player that's there, it probably doesn't translate that well, unless some sort of agreement gets worked out with a swap deal or something. But I even don't think that will happen. I feel like the news is pretty much solid that we're not going to be interested in him. Although I don't know where that comes from, by the way. I feel like someone makes it up and then that story just runs. To be honest, I don't know what it looks like for Chelsea next season with a striker. I don't know how this board are going to approach anything. I'm completely still trying to read them. They surprise me at every chance they get. So for me personally, I feel like a striker who comes with a little bit more experience than Jackson would be what would be best for the club. But that isn't how they're going to act. They'll probably go for someone a lot younger, arguably with a worse goal record than Jackson, and hope that he obviously turns into a serious player. I don't feel they think it's necessary to spend that much money that Osimhen might cost on one player when they definitely have a few areas to recruit in now.
But you need a forward, don't you?
I don't disagree, Mo, but I don't see. I feel like Napoli are going to get Lukaku if the Conte deal gets wrapped up. I think that's something that could be realistic.
They won't pay the money. They won't pay the money.
I think Chelsea are open to accepting about 30 million though, just to get him off the books.
I don't. You don't get De Laurentiis. He isn't paying 30 million pounds for Lukaku.
You don't. Not even if
how
he's
much
able to move.
did they pay for Osimhen?
I don't think they paid that much. But also Lukaku's okay. So
I thought they paid a load for Osimhen.
De Laurentiis, right, is gonna make money off Osimhen. He knows that he pays that 30 million for Lukaku. It's done. That's 30 million.
They paid
70 mil for Osimhen.
Yeah, but that's what. But he knows that he's selling him for more money than this. This guy, if he gets Lukaku for 30 million, he's not getting any money back. Maybe I doubt that he's gonna pay that much money for a 32 years old. He's 31 or 32, Lukaku, isn't he?
Yeah. Fabrizio said Chelsea aren't willing to accept anything less than the
38 million pounds, yeah.
Which is
31 years old for 31 years old for this guy, to be honest, for Lukaku is mad.
I don't know if it's that bad because he's still scoring goals now. If he has a good Euros, I think that is pretty reasonable.
What was the season like for Roma?
I don't think it was awful, to be honest. No, really?
Right.
Not 38 million quid good.
No? Europa League was okay.
The issue he's got as well is that the only clubs that have got that sort of money knocking around for a Lukaku are Premier League clubs. And everyone's
not having Rory.
Lukaku in the Premier League. No.
He got 21-4 for the Roma side that was wildly inconsistent. It's not his best season, but it still shows that he can do something. Lukaku offers
the problem is he showed that he could do that and then he came back to the Premier League.
The only reason I think about it now again, the only reason I see maybe Napoli pays that is because Antonio Conte can literally be very strong. Like I want this guy. I
also think that the Conte's track record with Lukaku would also probably.
Yeah, I think it's a 30 goals.
Yeah, but the thing about it, what's the aim? Here's the problem. What's the aim? Why would De Laurentiis pay that to get back to the Champions
because
League?
Napoli just finished 10th, I think, or 9th, wherever they finished.
So the aim for Napoli is
they're going to lose. No, they're going to lose their striker for probably close to 3-digit millions, right? That's probably their aim. So a 30 million hit on that, 30, 35, he'll negotiate that release clause. I'm absolutely certain, but. If that was to happen, and he'd be your new manager's number one man in terms of strikers that are available, Lukaku's got another 4 years in Italy if he really wants it, because I feel like in that league, players can kind of push on towards 40 scoring goals.
The issue, I think, is that I don't think Osimhen's going for anywhere near 100 million now.
Oh, I don't either. And I think this season's probably hindered him even more.
They didn't sell him at his peak. They should have sold him last summer. They didn't. His values definitely dropped this. But it's not even just that his values dropped. The market for clubs to buy Osimhen, if Chelsea aren't going to go for him, it doesn't seem like Arsenal are that interested. Demarcio's just tried to link us to it, but I don't know where he goes.
I'll do a swap deal with them. I'll do a swap deal. They want Nunes. I'll give them Nunes.
Demarcio just linked Arsenal to Osimhen.
I genuinely think Lukaku's better than Osimhen. People might think I'm crazy for that, but I really do. I've watched Osimhen play quite a lot, and I don't think he's even close to Lukaku in terms of finishing.
I think Lukaku's got a really bad rep for some reason.
Lukaku's got a bad rep.
I know he's clunky. He's clunky, but he's a finisher. You don't have the amount of goals he's got in his career without having something about you. And every club he's went to in Italy, he's shown that he can do it.
I'll be honest. I think obviously the relationship between Chelsea and Lukaku is absolutely broke down completely. But I think he's still probably the answer for this Chelsea side right now. I just don't think that's ever going to get
Jackson. I think Lukaku. What's the word? Sort of complements what Jackson gives you as a striker. So where Jackson's weaknesses are, Lukaku gives you that.
I completely agree.
If he hadn't done that interview and fucked it up, I think there could have been a future for Lukaku at Chelsea.
Especially under a new ownership as well. I think it could have been.
I still think there could be if Maresca really wanted it. If Maresca really wanted it, and the owners said, look, we've got so many other positions that need to be addressed this summer, and PSR's breathing on our neck. We can't sort a striker out for you and look at you once. And Enzo, could you come? I can work with Lukaku. I can see what Lukaku's about. And then you've got a striker there who I think would, because I think his link-up play often gets underrated Lukaku's. He can link up play very well. It's just everyone has this image of Lukaku in their head of this clunky, useless striker who the ball bounces off and goes in 20 times a season. He's a good striker.
Yeah, and think back to the last year. Obviously, it's a while ago now, but
no, I've done this one season. Go ahead, Dan.
Back to the last Euros, like he was in incredible shape. Wasn't that under Conte as well? Like Conte absolutely got the best out of him. He looked like a monster under Conte, and I absolutely think that might be too good for him to turn down to go to Napoli. I feel like that just makes so much sense, that deal.
Lukaku's career is just mental. Lukaku's career just should be enough of a CV anyway for a Napoli if they really need a striker to take the punt on him.
He's been scoring goals since West Brom.
He's had 3 years of his career since 2014 where he hasn't scored 20 goals in a season. And that was his final season at United, that season at Chelsea, and then the season at Inter on loan after. That's it. Every other year, you got 20, 25, 26, 27, 34, 30, and 21. The numbers are there. The output is there with Lukaku in a league where he matches it. And he's shown that he can perform at that level at Inter and at Roma in two vastly different sides. I don't see why it's not a gamble that Napoli should be taking, especially if they're bringing Conte in. That's a striker who Conte absolutely loves working with. I think Lukaku's got a really bad rep, honestly. I think he deserves a lot more respect than what he gets. He's a very good striker. But if Napoli are, if Napoli are going to struggle getting rid of Osimhen, I've got a swap deal for you. Uruguayan striker, 25 years old, hits the woodwork a lot. I'd do a swap deal Osimhen for Nunes. They want that.
Yeah, I'd take Nunes in a heartbeat. I feel like he's a really good player. I feel like he's just getting.
This is turning into not the National League.
No, do you not think that though? I think
Lukaku
Nunes
better
is
than
a really good player.
Lukaku
surely
Lukaku is better than Osimhen. He 100%.
But your big issue at Chelsea for the last 2 years really has been not having a striker that puts the ball in the back of the net. So you go and get the striker that is most well known for not putting the ball in the back of the net.
Well, unfortunately at Liverpool he's obviously got a bad rep, but there's evidence to suggest that at Benfica he had a good season.
No, there's not evidence. there was a one-season career. There was a one season in his entire career where he's overperformed XG, and he overperformed it by fucking like 14. So it wasn't like, you know, one which was scalable. It was a fluke. It was a fluke. Ever since then, he's underperformed XG at Almeria, at Benfica, and at Liverpool. He is the biggest, most annoying. Oh, I just want a striker who I can trust to finish. The man has been at Liverpool for 2 years and has missed close to, if not over, 50 big chances. And whilst I don't think it's a great metric, there is a little bit of a concern when there's 20 goals and 50 big chances missed. You'd basically be buying Timo Werner who can draw horses.
Hold on. Oh yeah, okay.
No, I feel like he's a better player than Timo Werner. Definitely is. I just feel like he's obviously like, look, you can't even question that he's not been good enough at Liverpool in terms of the chances that he has and hasn't taken. But I think there's a player in there. I really do. I don't know whether the Premier League is his league. I'm not really sure. But
didn't you want to buy him last season as well?
Who, Chelsea?
Didn't you like try and
Chelsea
tried
to
to
taken
put a
that.
bid
Yeah,
in for last year?
Honestly, if we'd have got him, I would have taken that. People will say it's deluded and whatever, but I'd be more than happy if he was to arrive. Obviously,
I would love watch. I would tune into every Chelsea fan channel to watch them discuss the dynamic between Nicholas Jackson and Darwin Núñez next year.
One of them would probably miss and it would go in off the other, and then they'd end up doing all right.
No,
look,
Jackson would miss. It'd go in off Núñez, and then Núñez would be offside when it's hit him, so it wouldn't count.
I'll be honest though, I genuinely don't know what Chelsea's direction is with a striker. I really don't. I feel like they'll look for someone young and
whatever Arsenal do, Chelsea will do.
Yeah, do you know what, Mo? I know you're joking, but like, there's potential that Chelsea will wait and watch to see what other teams are doing and potentially try to hijack the deal. Because
whatever Arsenal the model, they're just gonna try to.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I don't know why Chelsea do that, because we don't play the same way in any way, shape, or form. So if Arsenal bring in a striker that suits us, the likelihood of it suiting Chelsea is. But I just don't think you'd actually necessarily need to go and buy a striker. You've got Jackson, who actually he had a decent season, missed a lot of big chances, but he had a decent season. You've got Nkunku, who can play that role. It's a slightly different role if Nkunku plays it for sure. Palmer can sit in the 10 if Nkunku goes further forwards. Like, I'm not entirely convinced that you need to go out and get another top-level striker. I think there's other areas you could improve first.
I think that...
the problem is we have no idea what is going to happen with this Chelsea team. Like, what does this guy Maresca wants to do? You know what I mean? What does he want to do, this guy
To be fair, he got good numbers out of Vardy. Go give Vardy his London thing that he never got with Arsenal. At what age, 39. Go run him back in blue. I think, though, that there's an obsession now with trying to find this 30-goal-a-season striker. And in turn, it's now meaning that the players behind the striker are losing output in terms of goal-scoring ability. So when that striker now doesn't score goals, because that happens with pretty much every striker, they'll go through spells where they can't find the back of the net. The team then doesn't have a player next to them who can pick up that slack. With Chelsea, you've got Cole Palmer there. But if you're going to do this whole 3-2-4-1 thing, you've got Palmer, who can get good output, and Nkunku, who got good output of Bundesliga and showed signs in the Premier League, but he can't get over the injuries. And then what? No other players.
You got Madueke
there. Madueke and output don't go in the same sentence.
No, it's about numbers. You cannot have 50,000 players on your squad. You cannot have Mudryk, Madueke, Palmer, Chukwuemeka, Nkunku, Jackson.
I quite like Chukwuemeka.
So, like, this is one of the things that people don't understand. There is a limit to how many forwards you can have, especially for people above the age of 21, because you cannot register them in the youth teams and play them. Yeah, like Chelsea cannot go to next season having 14 attackers or 12 because you need to fill out the sheet for the other positions as well.
Lukaku's still one of them.
It's Lukaku. That's one of the things that people forget. Like, Chelsea, let's buy. Okay, these guys are over 20, 21 years old. Even Cole Palmer now is not considered a youth product anymore. You can't register him as a youth product. And you cannot go into that season with like 12 forwards and just Lavia, Caicedo, Gallagher, and Enzo as your midfield and then tell me, okay, I'm good. You need at least 3 midfielders or 2 to fill the sheet of like, okay, what if some of them get injured? Because this season, you had to play Ogochoko, who nobody heard of before he started the game. That is not an ideal situation for coaches, like to have someone like you'll need at least 5 midfielders. Look at Liverpool; they have 7 or 8 midfielders. Arsenal complain about the midfield. So Chelsea, you need to offload some people, but every time the answer to this question, sorry, Rory, question to Dan is that every time I speak to Chelsea players, Chelsea fans, I don't hear the notion of, by the way, we need to get rid of some of the forwards first. They say, no, we need a striker and Olise on top of what we have. And I'm like, how are we going to fit all these people in one season?
Well, I think it's real. You just have to be realistic, don't you? That if a midfielder leaves, I think it's pretty much going to be like a 1 in, 1 out policy from now on at Chelsea. I feel like if they continue to act in the manner that they have for the last season, 2 seasons, it's just so unsustainable. Their squad will literally be too full. They won't be able to register players for under 21 because that will be potentially full, or they'll be halting the development of academy products. They won't be able to loan players out because there'll be restrictions on that. I feel like if Olise was to come in, then Madueke probably goes to Crystal Palace. I feel like that would be a great move. I feel like he'd suit Crystal Palace. The issue with a striker as well is we've obviously got Jackson, but Broja's probably going to leave. Lukaku's probably going to leave. I feel like with Conference League potentially looming as well, you probably need a second striker who can come in and potentially play those games or rotate, however it works, because I've heard rumours that we could potentially have League Cup games and Conference League games in the same week, as well as a Premier League fixture. So they're going to have to navigate that by adding an additional player in that role. The issue is that, like you said, everyone's looking for this 30-goal a season striker, probably because of the numbers that Haaland is putting up and a couple of other players around Europe are putting up. But no one saw Dominic Solanke getting 20 goals in a season, who I absolutely would take, by the way, at Chelsea. No one saw what Glasner was about to do at Crystal Palace with his striker from Mateta, who's been there for a couple of seasons now, been completely underwhelming, and he's absolutely unlocked him and given him a lot of confidence. So a lot of it comes down to the coach as well, getting the best out of their players and understanding what their system really requires. And hopefully Maresca is clear of mind in what he needs and can speak with the recruitment team. But ultimately, if they don't like your opinion, we know how that works.
Isn't part of the recruitment.
I
think Maresca doesn't have any say in who they
no,
the issue is, I don't know if that's
not going to
true.
work.
I just think that isn't just completely unsustainable.
I was slagged on the football terrace when I said this model is very strange. That a coach,
it's not
maybe
strange,
choose a position. Say I want this position.
That's closer to what it'll be.
Right?
That's closer to what it'll be. It'll ultimately be a case of either the club will come together and they'll go, here are the positions that we think you need. And then Maresca will get to say whether he believes he needs them or not.
Okay.
And the ones that are decided are of pressing need, they'll be ranked then based on most important to least important.
Yes.
The scouting team and the recruitment staff will go away, compile a big shortlist, rank them all on the shortlist, and then go, here's who we're going to go for. Do you have any major concerns about him? Like, could you not work with him for whatever reason? The moment he says no, then they push through on that deal, and then they move down the list until they get to where it is. Unlike what people think it is, where Enzo Maresca turns up on the first day of training and there's fucking 5 new faces that he's never even heard of before. There'll be an element of...
I'm sure he doesn't know what Ogochoko is.
No, he will though, because
Mo,
do you know why? Is the apparent conversation is that before he moved to Leicester, he watched thousands of hours of gameplay footage of theirs, from like games played, training, all that sort of stuff, to absolutely assess who was in his squad. And there is going to be minutes there of Ogochoko, albeit a season hindered by injuries as well.
You know, I like Ogochoko, right?
Yeah, he's a very tall, very physical, very mobile player for his body type, and I feel like he does have a future in the game. I think ultimately, like Tom says, it's not sustainable to not allow the managers to have any input at all. It's like, imagine a builder going to drill a hole in the wall and his boss has given him all the tools but a drill. It's not fair that he can't turn around and then say, look, you've asked me to do this job. I need a drill. And they say, no, do it with the hammer. It's just not going to work. There has to be some sort of relationship there that allows the manager to potentially say, look, we need to focus some recruitment in this area because we're lacking.
Is Maresca going to even get 1,000 hours of footage for Reece James?
Maybe over the last 5 years.
Before I want to move on to
struggle.
I want to move on.
I have to go back to Wigan. I'm not even lying.
He'll have like all these folders. He'll have all these folders for all these other players, and then it'll just be a YouTube comp for Reece James because that's all the footage that they've got.
But I want to ask a question before we move on, because yesterday, of course, I had the opposite of the show, the Rivals Rumble show, and a couple of questions were asked. I'm not sure if anybody watched that, but it's a couple of questions. Number one is, in a project today, if you are to pick a project at this current stage, would you pick Chelsea or Arsenal? Tom,
Arsenal.
so you don't.
Arsenal.
Okay.
So there's like things
They
are stable. They are stable and they're challenging for fucking titles.
Hold on. So for the next 3 years, if I ask you, so by the way, I'm asking questions for the people in the chat who watched the show yesterday, just to show you the difference between opinions between different people. In the next 3 years, who's more likely to be more successful?
Arsenal. In the next 5 years, Arsenal.
If you are choosing a coach today, who are you choosing, Arteta or Maresca?
Arteta. Who was suggesting any of the opposite of this?
No, name and shame, because I need to know who. If someone's
Endo Maresca then took promotion from the Championship. Arteta's got Arsenal to where they are. What are we doing?
We literally spent an hour yesterday discussing these 3 questions.
How's that? Who was debating against it, though? Who sat there? Who sat there debating against it?
It's an amazing show. You guys, swear to God, if you guys...
Drop the link, Mo. Drop the link. I need to
watch that show.
Mo, play the clip now. Play the clip right now. I want this to be like court. This is the jury here. We're deciding which fella should be guilty of crime.
The problem is Shez has really good explanation to it. You guys don't understand. Like Shez, it's an explanation that makes you think. Like, I'm not saying that he was joking or something. Shez is a very well-spoken person. Like, he can deliver the idea. And he literally was able to deliver the idea to make people think about his options. I can't remember now.
I don't need it for the whole one. I don't need it for the whole. What was his explanation for Maresca over Arteta?
Number one, he went to Arteta back when he started that Maresca has more experience today, right? Number two, he's one of the things he said.
No, he doesn't.
I don't want to
Arteta's got double the years.
No. He means
at the
when
time,
he was hired. When he was hired,
Maresca has more experience. And he said about the project, the Arsenal project has been going 5 years. He thinks that Chelsea in the next 3 years, more likely than Arsenal, will be winning trophies because they're gonna take the cup serious and stuff like this. That's what he said. That's not Mo.
That's outrageous, by the way. The issue here is that
I like Shez's opinion because he can actually debate you on anything.
Okay, right. I don't disagree with that, but the issue here is that I've seen quite a few Chelsea fans doing this now, and because they're basically coming to terms with the fact that they're so shocked at this appointment that they're trying to convince themselves that it absolutely is the right move, and I actually
said that.
And that is why, because Chez is literally describing it to you that he's convincing himself at the same time it's the right move, and you're buying into it because you're watching him believe himself.
I'm not buying into it, by the way. Forget.
Okay, but like some people are, if they're finding it absolutely that there's potential in this. This is a really risky move, and if the benefits pay off, yes, it could be.
It's a good segue.
Amazing,
Go ahead.
Is he? So is he considering that the project starts now? Is he discarding the last 2 years of the project?
Yeah. In the same time, Chez actually thinks that Arsenal will win the league next season.
Right. So okay. On that basis,
you know that. At the end, Chez concluded that Arsenal will win the league next season.
So then his point doesn't make sense because he said that Chelsea are going to win more trophies.
He said long term Chelsea's project will be more.
No, he said in the next 3 years. He said in the next 3 years Chelsea will win more trophies than Arsenal. That was what.
Maybe we need him to explain this to us. Maybe.
So if Arsenal are going to win the league title next year,
I'm not going to lie.
Not today.
If Arsenal win the league next year, he's suggesting that minimum Chelsea win 2 cups in the 2 years after that, because as much as Dan is a diehard Chelsea fan, I think he knows that Chelsea probably aren't going to win anything next year. It's a new manager who's coming in. It's probably going to be a consolidation year. Then at that point, and I love this. Why do people think football just stops? The moment Chelsea trying to do something, everyone else just sits on their hands and go, "Oh, what is Chelsea doing? City are going to buy. Liverpool are going to buy. United are going to buy. Villa are going to buy."
I want to segue to this to Arsenal, because actually one of the main topics I wanted to talk about is that fans nowadays, and I said that yesterday to everybody on the panel, they do not tell, like, I feel like the majority of the fans don't say the truth, don't say how they actually feel. What I mean is that the Chelsea fans, for example, if you ask any Chelsea fans last season, would you take Vincent Kompany at your club, who won the championship emphatically and played fantastic football? 9 out of 10 will tell you no. Why would I take a championship? I'm Chelsea Football Club. I don't take championship managers. He needs another job then to step to Chelsea. And before Maresca, if you ask the majority of Chelsea fans, you would say, no, we don't go for these managers. We'll go for the Hansi Flicks, and the least we would accept is De Zerbi. But then you go now, after the fact, they try to convince me that it's all right. Same for Arsenal fans, for example, and I'm on the segue for Arsenal. If you ask Arsenal fans, the majority of the season, would you want a top player up top, a striker that is experienced? Now we're going to move away from the youth project. They tell you, we want an Ivan Toney, maybe Osimhen, half we're convinced with the ability, half not. But that caliber of a striker, they need a Harry Kane, of course, not Harry Kane, but that caliber of player, maybe a little bit lower, someone who is experienced, like a Ollie Watkins. Now I'm seeing the majority of the Arsenal fans with this Sesko deal are trying to tell me that, yeah, Arteta knows what he's doing. We're going to trust him to convince themselves. It's the same. In my opinion, it is the same. Same for Liverpool fans, who none of them heard about Arne Slot, and they wanted Xabi Alonso when Jurgen Klopp left, and then they wanted Amorim. But then when Arne Slot was, the data showed the Arne Slot, they were like, yeah, it's the right appointment. I don't do this, by the way, for Inter. I always say, I want what I want. If the club gets somebody else, I'm not going to slack that person off but they have to prove me wrong. And that's the Arsenal deal with Sesko. 20 years old, 1 season only in a top flight. 1 season only on a top flight. Is that the one for Arsenal next season? Should this be should be an understudy? You should have had a striker, and then he comes in as understudy. But now you have an Havertz. Should Arsenal go next season with Havertz as starting striker?
Why not? He had a very good end to the season.
Right.
And it seems to be. I think that the logic is Havertz up front, and then Sesko apparently is the understudy who can come in and offer you something different than Havertz will. That's a fine dynamic, and then they can spend the majority of their money in the midfield, figuring out whether they want to put Rice as the 8 and then buy a new 6, or have Rice as the 6 and buy a new 8. Because Havertz and the way he ended the season and the decent dynamic he's got with Saka and Trossard, and we've seen that, so maybe he'll have one with Martinelli as well. The need for a striker of an Osimhen ilk, not Tony, fuck Tony, of an Osimhen ilk, has been negated, and it's like, well, Havertz can give you so much, and then if your backup can also step up and provide you, which has been Arsenal's biggest problem with their strikers. They were able to find one guy who could perform up front in Havertz, but there was no one else who could. Jesus has not been the same since he injured his knee, and Eddie Nketiah is Eddie Nketiah. So if they're able to add a backup there alongside Havertz, who a full season up front now instead of 4 or 5 months might be able to get you close to 15, 20. I think that's the right dynamic. And then they just need to focus on the midfield, which will then in turn offer more defensive solidity and create more chances. Fix up left backs. I still think that Arsenal could buy it. Mind you, got Timber coming back, haven't you? Maybe not left back then. To be honest, centre is just the spot which you look at, and a new right winger as well, not to replace Saka, but to give him some competition and a chance.
That's Gabriel Jesus though on the right side. So basically, what they have,
Jesus needs to come.
Okay, so replacement or that's completely. You spoke about the money, but then you tell me they need a 6, for example. Do they need a 6 as a starting,
Yes.
instead of Partey,
Yes.
or Partey has to go?
Partey can go.
Okay, so Partey's money can buy a 6.
No. Arsenal should be looking to shop Elite of the Elite for a 6. As
What
they
is
done
the
when they
elite
bought
of the
Declan
elite?
Rice.
Tell
Maybe
me.
not even a 6. Maybe the Elite. Maybe they move Rice to the 6 and buy an
Yeah.
Elite of the Elite 8, like a Frankie de
Yeah.
Jong or something. That's the ilk of what they should be shopping in, not the 30 million they're going to get for Partey. Reinvest that into a 21-year-old and hope he comes good.
Okay.
If Arsenal want to take the next step, Arsenal have to take the next step financially as well. They got half of the way there with Declan Rice. They now need someone else in that midfield.
I remember that Emil
Because-
Smith-Rowe might go as well, so that will provide money.
That's fine. They don't need to buy a player for just buying's sake. They can keep the money in the kitty and then look at a full season or look in January at where the problems are. So let's say they go and buy this £100 million striker in the summer and they buy a £100 million midfielder. All of a sudden, right back becomes a problem because Ben White gets injured and then they don't have anyone else. But they've used up all their money. All their money went on the striker and the centre mid. So they can't. Saka's dying because he's not been out. They've not had a chance to buy a backup for him. And they've got no right back because Ben White's injured for whatever reason now. That Arsenal should. I quite like the idea of them buying a rotation striker. The more that I think about it, having Kai Havertz up front, buying a rotation striker, spending big on the centre mid, and then keeping the rest in the kitty, or spending some of the rest on addressing problem areas with young talents, i.e., buying a young right back to give competition to Ben White and ensure that should he for whatever reason need the rest or get injured, the new one can come in instead of it being Cedric or whoever at right wing, instead of Bukayo Saka having to play 50, 60 games a year. It becomes, well, now he's got a young understudy who can step in for certain games and give him a rest and this, that, and the other, instead of it being Reece Nelson or whoever. That's the way I see Arsenal should be going. Not buying a £100 million striker and then Kai Havertz doesn't really fit in at that point because where would he play? So that's 65 million or whatever it cost. You know, just sort of up in the air in terms of his fit in the side. I think you just got to look at the general fit. I think the biggest step Arsenal can make now is buying a midfielder of that top class ilk to try and, whether it causes it or not, try and force conversations about whose midfield is better out of Arsenal or City. If they can create the most dominant midfield in the Premier League, they'll go a long way to winning it because they'll control every game. I think that was, whilst I think Jorginho had a good end to the season, I think there is a mobility problem with Jorginho in terms of he isn't very quick. So in situations where Rice and Odegaard are trying to chase a game, Jorginho can get caught out. So this is where you need to go buy a top centre mid, whether they want to go buy a Joshua Kimmich or a Frankie de Jong. That's the kind of way I see it going. That's the next step for an Arsenal. Not buying a Victor Osimhen.
I actually think we need two central midfielders long term, which is why I don't think we can necessarily put 100 million to an Osimhen, for example, because I think we're losing probably this summer. Thomas Partey, El Neni will drop out. Sambi Lokonga is going to come back from loan but move on again, and Jorginho's extended his contract, so he's got 1 year left. So we're looking at by next summer, we'd be looking at having Declan Rice as the only 6 or 8 left in the entire squad. So I think we need to go out there and buy one that can start alongside Rice straight away next season, and that's going to be expensive. And then another that's got a season where they're not being relied upon so much because we've got Jorginho and they can be the understudy. But by that point, you're already probably looking at spending 120 million on those two midfielders. Then you need the winger as a Saka backup because I don't think that's Jesus long term. If Bukayo Saka got injured for any period of time, I would not be happy having Jesus starting on the right wing for me. So what does that leave? I think we also need another defender. So what does that leave for the striker? Sesko's a decent option. Don't get me wrong, he's not my first choice. I do think that at his age, you know, of course there's a high ceiling there, but also would he be ready to step up if we needed to rely on him next season? Not so sure. I like him, but Victor Gyökeres has always been my number one option, who I think would be more ready to come straight into the team. To be honest, I think whoever we sign as the striker, even if it was Victor Osimhen, I think Kai Havertz starts up top next season, at the start of the season. I think whoever we bring in is given the time to learn and adapt to how Arsenal play. And we don't need to gamble by playing them straight off the bat at the start of the season when we know what we can get out of Kai Havertz anyway. If Kai Havertz, the numbers Havertz put up as a striker for Arsenal, if you like extrapolated that over a 38-game season, he'd score 25 goals and get 10 assists. Now, obviously, you can't just do that, but based on the games that we saw him play as a striker, like he is your guy that's going to get 25 plus goals. So yeah, I don't think there's an urgency to remove him from that position, and I do think midfield is probably more of a concern for us next season.
Okay. AMT Comdine is saying Osimhen is staying, Kvaratskhelia is going to PSG. I think they might not find actually someone to pay for Osimhen, but they might find PSG paying for Kvaratskhelia. So I agree with that.
Again, De Laurentiis, I'm here offering you a deal right here, right now. Swap deal, Nunes for Osimhen. You don't even need to pay a penny. We ain't paying you, but you don't need to pay a penny. Then you get a very exciting South American talent who scored against Argentina.
De Laurentiis doesn't speak English, so he definitely doesn't watch this show. If he was,
right, let me find Google Translate then.
Okay. Will a question to Rory? Will Man United's new physio, Jordan Rees, improve them?
Yeah, probably. Our physio, I think our recovery this season has been excellent. I think when people think that injuries is just completely luck based, I disagree. When it comes to muscular injuries, I think there's a significant amount of science and that goes into that. And so, yeah, but equally, they took our doctor last summer and our injuries massively improved and theirs massively fell apart. Yeah. So maybe we're sending another dud their way. But no, I think it probably will improve them. I assume that the fact we're letting him go, I assume we've got someone lined up to replace him. But.
Thank you, Liverpool Season, for the donation and the super chat. Tevin, thank you, Tevin. If I had enough space, I would further explain. It's not that I'm okay with Sesko being number one. However, I can see where it works depending on how we address elsewhere. The other options also have downsides. That's a very good way to put it, to be honest, Tevin. Thank you so much. It depends. I just thought Arsenal should sign someone who's ready now, like just next season. You need someone that
there aren't that many.
I don't know. Isak,
that's the issue. Isak is. I just don't think. I think I
don't like Vlahovic, but a lot of people like him. Really.
I don't like Vlahovic. I don't think you can get Isak. Gyökeres is my choice. Osimhen, I don't know. 100 million.
Gyökeres is very expensive as well.
How much is him? How much is Gyökeres?
Got to be 80.
80 million.
But I don't think he will be though.
I
think he'll end up going for less. Yeah, I know, but I think someone will end up negotiating.
I think the problem you ran into there, though, Rory, is it looks like Amorim's not going to go now. If Amorim was going, it would be easy to negotiate because Gyökeres had won out. I could see him being willing to do one more year under Amorim.
Maybe.
Yeah, Tom, you nailed it by Comdine. Last point, I want to speak about touch it. Zinchenko. Is that you're happy with him going, Rory?
Yes. 30 million, apparently. Someone said.
Why are people? I like Zinchenko.
I like Zinchenko.
So why are you happy with him?
I think he's shit.
Because 30 million, we'd barely make a loss on an injury-prone player that's 28 and doesn't start for us. Like, you cannot say no to that. I think Arteta's the project. I think has moved on. I think Jurriën Timber starts at left back next season. At the start of next season. And if he's being like he was being, even when he was fit, he was being dropped in favour of both Kivior and Tomiyasu at times. That's 30 million quid on the bench that you can very easily
use somewhere else, huh?
Yeah. To be honest, sounds like Vincent Kompany's going to do us some favours. Apparently, he's interested in Sambi Lokonga as well. Maybe on a loan rather than a buy, but it could be. Kompany could be helping us.
Wow.
If Arsenal get 30 million for Zinchenko, you snap Vincent Kompany's hand off and run with it.
Yeah.
I've never raised Zinchenko like that.
That must be Fonzie's going to leave Bayern then for sure if that's happening.
Oh,
apparently, like Alphonso
Davies already is gone. They want to.
Apparently, that's for like 40 mil. So Bayern are going to take the 40 million they get for Alphonso Davies and spend 75% of it on fucking Zinchenko. And the rest on fucking Sambi Lokonga.
Okay, so Kompany, we all know how much Kompany
when you put it this way,
Lokonga,
it sounds crazy, bro. When you put it this way.
Yeah, but Kompany really rates Lokonga. He obviously scouted him, didn't he? And obviously hit up Pep and Manchester City said no, and then obviously Arteta took the risk at Arsenal. The issue is, though, is that if it, like Rory's saying, the Arsenal project's moved on. If Company, obviously in a similar mould to Arteta, plays that style of football, does Zinchenko fill that gap for them for 30 million for 2-3 seasons as part of their project? And then they potentially go and sign someone who they'd argue is better at left back and more suited to that.
But what is this?
Is he just good for that? You know, like starts that well,
Arsenal's
understands it
project-
really well.
Arsenal's project and Bayern's project are vastly different.
Are they now, though?
Yes. Arsenal's project was to sneak into the top 4. I think Jesus and Zinchenko were bought to put Arsenal consistently back in the top 4.
They
not
were.
to be title challengers. Bayern aren't even trying to be title challengers. Bayern are trying to get back to winning ways with titles. And you can't sell Musiala, for example, on a project where Zinchenko's coming in.
Kimmich will leave as well, I think.
Or Kimmich, or players like this on projects.
Yeah, but is it time for Bayern Munich to completely just absolutely refresh things? Because I think there's issues at Bayern Munich. It's been a squad that's been put together on a board that's no longer even there. They're going to have different ideas now. I just wonder how that will go. I don't disagree with you, by the way. I think Bayern Munich obviously don't want to take a lot of time, don't want to have to sneak back in, but I think there's probably going to be quite a few names leaving Bayern Munich this summer, and probably some stranger, lesser known, cheaper ones probably going in as well.
I mean, I'm just very excited to see how it plays out for Harry Kane. He's trying to buy into the fucking.
He must be fuming. He must be absolutely fuming. Like, honestly, if Barcelona were to let go of Lewandowski, I'm sure he'd be on the phone to his agent.
So he could go to Spain and just not win anything as well.
He's got more of a chance, hasn't he?
The fucking go PSG and then Lille up in the league again.
I swear to God,
he's not going to win a trophy.
He must be livid, honestly. I'd be livid if Company.
It's the proof that Pep ruined football. The proof.
Harry Kane's cock up was not pushing for that City move. Harry Kane, in that summer where City were after him and were willing to pay big money for him, but Tottenham didn't want to let him go, Harry Kane should have thrown a fuss. He should have kicked his toes right out the pram because he'd have won fucking everything. And now we stuck at Bayern with fucking Vincent Kompany as his manager and Craig Bellamy as the assistant telling him how to score goals.
Surely United go and put the money down on the table for him or something and just pull him out of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he must. If you see that you've gone there and you're going for Tuchel, you think, right, I've got a chance of winning something, and then obviously it goes the way it's gone, and then you think, right, okay, we'll go again, we'll get a good manager in, and then Company walks through the door. You'd be livid. You'd be fuming.
Sitting Harry Kane down
and
going,
with Kimmich leaving, with Kimmich leaving, Alphonso Davies leaving, and you're buying Zinchenko and you're buying these players, and I'm like, he must be like, get me out of here. Could have gone to Real Madrid or something.
Mr. Vincent Kompany, I have a swap deal to propose to you. You get rid of Harry Kane and I give you an exciting young Uruguayan to spearhead your new project. No fees attached.
I know no channel actually discusses this Company thing in details. You know,
no, because it's not Premier League, is it anymore?
Yeah, but the way he was approached by Bayern is that if you ask anyone 10, 12 years ago that a relegated manager from the Premier League is going to be the coach of Bayern Munich fan would laugh at you, would tell you, we won't even take the second in the Premier League. The coach that came second in the Premier League is not up to our level.
On the back of stacking Nagelsmann and Thomas Tuchel, by the way, as well.
And it tells me it's all, again, I think, and again, it's Mo with his agenda. Again, it's Pep because he plays position-based football, Vincent Kompany, and he has these stats of playing position-based football. People are convinced that, yes, I'm not saying he's going to fail at Bayern. He might kill it. But the fact that he got the job on the back of relegation with the team at one of the biggest clubs in the world tells me that football has completely changed.
Nobbins will be having a fucking aneurysm right now. He'd be having an aneurysm with that statement that Mo's just said.
But isn't it true, though?
Yeah, it's like a midlife crisis, isn't it? You get to 45 years old and buy a sports car. It's that sort of thing, I think. It just doesn't make sense.
It's that. Because he plays a good style of football, they think, well, he can be Pep.
Well, he's fluent in German, isn't he, as well? He's obviously highly regarded.
There's also the issue of...
De Zerbi, I'm not going to say... if Bayern Munich get De Zerbi, I would start questioning that. You guys, this is Bayern Munich. You know what I mean? Bayern Munich, Ottmar Hitzfeld. You know what I mean? Like Bayern Munich has had Bayern Munich when Pep Guardiola went and won the league back to back to back. Some of the Bayern Munich fans said you failed because we didn't win the Champions League.
Okay, would you rather take Vincent Kompany or De Zerbi if you're like Bayern Munich fan?
Company.
I think I'd take Kompany over De Zerbi as well.
And that's because you're brainwashed by Pep. You're brainwashed.
No, I'm not. Not even for the Pep thing.
If anything, hold on. If anything, if I was brainwashed by Pep, I'd want De Zerbi because he's apparently the fucking next Pep. I think De Zerbi is shit.
Coached under Pep. So why would he take Kompany then? He's relegated.
His CV, he has a relegation CV, and it is still better. His CV is still better than De Zerbi's, even with the relegation.
You think so?
Yes. What's De Zerbi won?
What has he won, Kompany? He won the championship.
That's
are we now? Okay, hold on. Are we now going into the notion of the championship is a trophy now?
Who else has actually
to win?
What managers have actually won the championship? Because you've got Maresca won it. The last two winners of the championship are now at Bayern Munich and Chelsea. Who were the winners of the championship in the years before that? And how have their careers gone since then? Because if you followed the previous winners,
you remember the Norwich guy that got relegated right down.
Yeah, so Daniel Farke, right?
Wagner.
So his career he's still in the championship. He's now back in the championship. Wagner,
right, so,
where's he?
He's in Germany or something like that.
Yeah, here's the list from 2016. So from 2016, 2015. In fact, I'll go to 2014. 2014.
Now do 2012. Do 2012 because Chelsea and Bayern in the Champions League, and in 14 years' time, who would have said
2012-13? Okay, 2012-13, Malky Mackay.
Who's that? Who's even that?
This is crazy.
13-14 was Nigel Pearson. 14-15 was Eddie Howe. 15-16 was Sean Dyche. 16-17 was Benitez. 17-18 was Nuno Espirito Santo. 18-19 was Daniel Farke. 19-20 was Bielsa. 20-21 was Farke. 21-22 was Marco Silva. 22-23 was Kompany, and 22-24 was Maresca.
One successful.
Do you know what? That's no. There's more. That's quite a good. That's better than I thought.
Rafa Benitez was in that
one.
Champions League winner. Benitez was in that list.
Successful manager in a top team in the Premier League. One.
Who?
Rafa Benitez. Everyone else is
Eddie Howe's done well at Newcastle.
You can say Eddie Howe. Okay, you can say.
By the way, Rafa Benitez, since he won that, hasn't done well in anywhere. Since what year did he win it? 17.
Yeah, but that's the whole point, Rory.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Winning the championship doesn't mean you're a good coach. Winning the championship doesn't mean.
Oh, I agree.
It means you're an okay coach. It doesn't mean you can coach Man City or Bayern Munich or Real Madrid or Arsenal or Man United. Yeah. It doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
I just like how the first hour starts off with Mo was just sitting there going, "Who the fuck's that?"
Do you know who that is? Malky no.
Malky Mackay.
That's not Mackay or Bayern Munich.
No, that's Roy Mackay.
That's not
That's Roy Mackay. And I'm like,
that's not. Nah. What a player, by the way.
Malky Mackay is now a sporting director at Hibernian after he got sacked from Cardiff for dodgy tweets.
I think the rest of the list, apart from a couple of the like Wagner and Farke, wasn't actually too bad. Apart from Nigel Pearson.
What do you mean too bad? Can you define too bad then? Because I think
Nigel Pearson,
mid-table Premier League standard of coach, Marco Silva, Sean Dyche, Eddie Howe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nuno Espirito Santo. Okay.
Yeah,
but we're talking Bayern Munich.
They've all had, but they've all had. What? Sean Dyche.
Didn't all of these guys fail at top clubs? Nuno Espirito Santo with Spurs.
Spurs. Eddie Howe is doing okay at Newcastle. You might argue that
he's doing very good, very well. Eddie Howe.
Rafa has done okay, like he's just a journeyman.
But you have to understand Rory's point. Rafa won that when he was done. It's not that he has won that and then went to be.
To be fair, Rafa didn't need to be an amazing coach, and Rafa done a very good job at Newcastle, all things considered, because that wasn't the Newcastle it is now. Yeah, that was the Newcastle where that was
Mike Ashley.
He had like fucking shit Hosselu up front as his main signing in windows. Like him getting that Newcastle side close to top half every year was really good. It was just he went to China for the money, then that money dried up very quickly. And then he went to fucking Celta Vigo, I think, and then was
Everton.
Shit there. Everton as well. I think he shouldn't have got sacked from Everton. I know that Sean Dyche was a good. Sean Dyche was another name on there as well, who's a very good Prem manager.
That's what I mean. I think that list was. They probably have done better than I was expecting that list to suggest. I think I probably felt that since the last 12 years, I probably felt that there'd be more names like Daniel Farke.
If you go look at it's if you go look at who came in like second, so like
yeah,
so from 2012-13, you had Hull City with Steve Bruce,
oh my God.
Burnley with Sean Dyche, Watford with Quique Sanchez Flores, Middlesbrough with
What's he?
Can't even remember who Middlesbrough's manager was. Brighton with Chris Hughton.
Ita Karanka?
It might have been Ita Karanka, you know. It might have been. Let me go have a look. I'll go find it now. You had Cardiff with Neil Warnock, Sheffield United with Chris Wilder, West Brom with Slaven Bilic, Watford with Zinchenko Munoz, Bournemouth with Scott Parker, Sheffield United with Paul Heckingbottom, and Ipswich with Kieran McKenna.
That is more the list I was expecting to hear. Yeah.
And the thing is, realistically, Maresca and company, it's not even like they've taken a mid-table championship team.
It was Aitor Karanka, yeah.
Yeah.
Good shout. But it's not even like those two managers have taken like a mid-table championship team and turned them into a championship winning side. It's not like that. That's what like Maresca has to take Chelsea from a team that finished 6th upwards. Whereas he walked into a squad that everyone thought Leicester were going to win the league last season, and he very nearly fucked it up. Company took over basically it wasn't quite a Premier League squad, but it was a good championship squad.
They even had a good budget for this season as well, Rory, compared to like Luton. And what did they end up finishing below Luton?
Yes.
Yeah.
Luton, I'm gutted Luton didn't stay up. I just enjoyed watching Luton.
You could very easily argue. You could very easily argue that Rob What's-his-face at Luton,
Rob Edwards,
performed better than Vincent Kompany.
Yeah, 100%. I would not.
Would you believe that Robert Edwards got sacked by Watford like 2 years ago?
Yeah, only because of their like merry-go-round that they have. Like, there. I think you're spot on, Rory. I think Bayern Munich taking the risk on Kompany is crazy, but I feel like it's just flavour of the month to do that at the moment. Kompany comes with a winning mentality from his playing career, and
I think the only stick up I've got, I would have agreed with the move if he wasn't so expensive.
Yeah,
if he was like
the only reason he was that expensive was because of them Bayern being silly in their negotiations with Glasner. They put 20 on the table, didn't they? And then Burnley were like, "Come on, we want the same."
You know, they went to fucking Glasner. They could have had Glasner fucking 3 months ago before he went valid for free. Honestly, they made the amount of stupid decisions Bayern made.
They're being ran in a really weird way at the moment for such a massive club as well. Like Bayern Munich are.
Well, I remember when they won the league last year, and like the footage came out of that director walking around to all the staff on the pitch and just sacking them on the pitch while they've got medals around their neck.
Anyway, listen, this has been a very random and good episode. I want to thank everybody that super chatted us. And I want to thank everybody. Rory's channel in the description, 6:30 daily, 6:30 daily update. Dan as well channel is in the description. Tom Little channel is in the description, of course. And I thank you guys for being here. Guys, we have about 700, 650 people here. And I'm sure we can get to 300, 400 likes. The like button is going to push this video more after we're done with it. So hit that like button underneath your live chat. Don't be a Jackson. Don't be a Darwin Núñez. Don't be a Chelsea. Get a championship manager. Just like the video underneath your live chat. I think later I'm live with Miz from the other flip of the coin and Martin Manchester City to talk about something else. But thank you so much, people, for being here. Appreciate everyone. And we'll see you guys on the other side. We're out of here, people. Thank you.